Yo, what's going on, everyone? Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and today we're checking out Call of Duty World War II for the Xbox One.
Yep, guys, you all love it when we do these Call of Duty reviews, and we give the people what they like. Released in 2017, this was developed by Sledgehammer and published by Activision. It's Sledgehammer's second Call of Duty game. In Japan, it's known as...
Hey, Jim!
What?
Don't you dare.
Don't I dare what?
Don't.
What? Say something racist about the Japanese like you do?
That's my bit!
Anyway, this is another yearly Call of Duty game, so let's just get into it. Alright, the graphics. Yeah, we're in, what is this, the 8th gen now? The 8.5 gen? I can't even keep track of this shit anymore. Basically, it's really hard for a game to look bad anymore. So, we don't really have a lot of complaints, gotta be honest here. And I know all you Battlefield fanboys are going to say, oh, it still looks worse than Battlefield 1. Fine, whatever. But as far as we're concerned...
What? What is that voice?
It's just them being bitchy.
God damn it. Go on.
All the graphics do look good. You still have that little bit of an uncanny valley when it comes to the cutscenes, so it doesn't exactly look real life yet, but no game actually does. And like any Call of Duty these days, it does have a Hollywood star in the main role. Thankfully, we don't have to praise Kevin Spacey again. But in this game, we have Josh Duhamel from the Nicholas Sparks hit movie Safe Haven.
Nobody knows him from that.
But Brian, his love with Julianne Hough was to die for.
Girls don't watch his channel, Jim. Fuck.
Maybe they will if I talk about Nicholas Sparks more.
I hate you so much.
I'm on a roll today. But yeah, he does a fine enough job, man. It looks like him. Look. The graphics are perfectly fine. They're great. Brian gave it a 10. I gave it a 9. And when it comes to beer, you don't need any. All right, the sound, again, what more can you say? The soundtrack, it's orchestral when it needs to be. The voice acting's done mostly really well. The sound effects are all varied enough. I mean, there's not that much you can complain about. Again, the music's not going to really be memorable. It's not like the voice acting will blow you away, but it's perfectly serviceable. So when it comes to scores, we both gave it 8s. It's a really good package with few complaints, and actually one thing we do want to praise is how, in Zombies mode, the zombies actually sound extra creepy this time, so it's nice to hear something changed up there for once.
They're scary!
Yeah! So, when it comes to beer, I'll just add 1 beer for the extra creepy zombies.
The control. Well, we've said it about the other Call of Duty games we reviewed, and at this point, if you've played any modern first-person shooter, you could pick up the controller and know exactly how to aim, how to shoot, how to use grenades, how to run. It's all mapped out the same way as every other first-person shooter, and it's really responsive. There's no issue with lag with the actual inputs, and even in multiplayer, you're not really running into issues of, any of that lag or delay unless you have shitty internet like Jim.
Hey!
The one thing I will say, I don't think it's possible for COD to ever truly improve because they don't care enough, but during the campaign, when you do use a tank or when you're flying the planes, the vehicle controls are really just stiff. They tried to keep them a little too simplistic, which makes flying those things or riding the tank just feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel good. So, for that one little reason, we both gave it a 9.
Right. I would say the QuickTime events are a little too twitchy, too. You don't really have a lot of leeway with them.
That's good. You would say that, but I fucking wouldn't, so shut the fuck up!
Hey, I had to put my 2 cents in.
Shut the fuck up!
Damn, just go.
So, when it comes to beer, I'm just going to add 1 for those vehicle controls not being up to snuff, and it's goddamn 2017. The gameplay. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible because you all know what a Call of Duty game feels like and plays like at this point. The campaign is what it is. Some memorable moments, some big vehicle things, saving a friend that's dying, yada yada yada. Didn't really change it up too much except for the fact that now you have squad abilities in there, and even that is something you've seen in other games, so it wasn't that crazy to add in. The multiplayer, as we said, they did change up a few things. They've gotten rid of perks, and they kind of just have these divisions and class settings now. The biggest improvement and thing we saw added was one of the game modes, and that's this war mode, where it's very much more objective based. It's not even objective based in terms like domination, where you can have the same amount of dipshits who just don't want to cover B. This is really like, okay, you got to move something like a tank from point A to point B, and you got to be near it, so you can't just sit back and be an asshole.
Even though some goddamn assholes on the team will still just sit back and try to rack up goddamn sniper kills and won't help the goddamn fucking team, then you lose a game you should have won.
Yes, that's always going to be an issue with any first-person shooter. But it's a mode that I think it's our favorite mode because it is so different, and it at least gives a little bit more meaning to those multiplayer maps if you're tired of the typical just go out and kill everyone. Other than that, they attempted to revamp zombies. However, it still feels for the most part the same, except they got rid of one thing that I know Jim always hated because he was the best at.
No, don't you dare. No.
There's no more windows, so he can't be window bitch, which is why Jim is no good at the zombies mode.
Yay!
But also, I will say they added in an objective in zombies mode, so you're actually playing towards an end. I've gotten pretty far, just haven't beaten it, and there's a lot more boss varieties in there. So they tried a few new things while keeping all the original conventions the same. It's a Call of Duty game. Jim and I have made no bones. We enjoy it. We have fun with it. It's not the best experience in the world, but it's something we will continue to keep buying as long as they give us this amount of fun. So, we both gave it 8s. It's well above average. If you don't like World War II guns, this is not a game for you. But if you were expecting the original World at War, you may or may not be disappointed.
And if you still miss the overpowered games like Modern Warfare 2, this probably won't be the Call of Duty for you.
Definitely not. So when it comes to beer, I'm going to add one happy beer for that game mode of war because that's still really fun, even if you're not a fan of Call of Duty. You should give that a try and decide if you like this game or not.
Originality I can keep quick because it's another Call of Duty. So, the campaign, you have the different classes, so that's slightly different. You have the war mode that we talked about, which is the best new addition. Besides that, multiplayer is exactly the same. And you have the zombie mode, which is revamped a little bit, but it's still zombies. So there's not much you can say here. We gave it 3s. And when it comes to beer, I'll just give it 1 beer, again, for war mode. I really, really like this mode, and it keeps me coming back.
The replayability. Like every other Call of Duty game, you're going to have a shit ton. The campaign itself offers you a few different, I think they're called mementos. I can't remember. I just beat it about a couple weeks ago, so it's a little bit out of my mind, but things that you can collect throughout the mode. Plus, if you put it on the hardest, it's hard as shit. Anyone who's beaten any of the Call of Duties on the most hard mode knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's not really many things to go back for as far as different endings, but there are also heroic actions where you can save some specific people throughout the actual level you're playing. The biggest amount of replayability comes in multiplayer. Obviously, you got your standard amount of weapons, attachments, camos, all the things you're going to play to unlock. The prestige mode, so you can restart it all with different symbols and whatnot. But, and this is a trend that we actually appreciate and like in the newer Call of Duties, they roll out these care packages that you can earn through doing specific challenges, and it actually keeps you coming back because you'll get a different looking gun. Sure, it'll be the same gun, but it's something to work for. You can have a different outfit for your avatar. This would suck if the only way you could get that stuff. Of course, they have microtransactions, which every game does. However, this game makes it at least realistic enough that you can unlock it by just playing the game. And they actually give you free new weapons with no charge that come out in these care packages roughly every 1 or 2 months. So by the end of the game, when it comes time for a new Call of Duty, you might have a whole new roster of weapons that you didn't start with to begin with, and all you have to do is play the game. Add in zombies mode with everything I mentioned before, you can keep replaying this game over and over long after it's done. So with all that being said, and considering the way we score it, we couldn't give this anything but 10s. Even if you hate Call of Duty, there's plenty of reasons and things to unlock to keep coming back and trying over and over.
Oh, right.
What?
You forgot to mention that there's classic 2600 Atari games on there that you can use in-game credits for to play.
Jim's actually right for once.
Yay!
Don't let go to your head.
River Raid.
Yeah, that's the worst game on there.
Actually, I'm surprised the emulation isn't as good as it could have been.
I'm surprised the game sucks as much as it does.
Don't fucking dare talk about River Raid like that.
So as far as beer, I'm just going to add 1 for how bad River Raid is.
God damn it!
Overall, this is another really good title if you like Call of Duty. Jim and I were most excited for this one from some of the previous titles because it was a return to the boots on the ground.
No more goddamn jetpacks.
Always coming back to the next game, I'll promise you that. Unless they go back to Vietnam or Civil War.
Yeah.
Either way, this is a game that, since World at War and many of the other earlier Call of Duties. They steered away with all the more futuristic shit. This felt like it was grounded again. Granted, there are some areas where we feel it actually went backwards, but it still delivered on everything else we've expected and loved. It's not our favorite Call of Duty. It's just still an all-around very solid game, and as we said every year with these titles, for all the AAA game developers who sell you some game that's not even finished or not with enough content where you have to get DLC, this game, it might offer you DLC, but you definitely don't need it because you have enough game for your buck. So we appreciate that.
Look, this might not sell you on Call of Duty if you don't like it already. If you're a fan, you'll play it. If not, stay away as usual.
So overall, we gave it 8s. Still solid, and it has the new mode that we really enjoy for multiplayer. When we combined all of our scores together, it rounds out to an 8.2. It's a very high score for us, but as I said, if you look at a game technically and take out all your hate for the community, you have to realize this is a pretty solid game. And we hope everyone out there had a good holiday and a happy new year.
Yeah! And subscribe.
When it comes to beer pairing, I'm going to go with a beer that's fairly well known, with the Shiner Bock. Listen, Call of Duty is nothing new, and this beer is nothing new. However, just like the protagonist from the campaign, this beer is from Texas, it's got a lot of flavor, and it's actually really easy to drink. So if you can find a 6-pack, pick it up, and give this game a try if you want to go back to boots on the ground for Call of Duty. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.